What is good? It is Salim Mohammed Tarfa, the Fizzy on the Fizzy Speaks, back again with another episode. Glad to do this, and yeah, it's just amazing. God is the greatest, and that is the latest. Yeah. On this episode, we'll be discussing self-sabotaging. What is self-sabotaging? Are you self-sabotaging? Still on the mindfulness series, bit of growth here and there, and I'm willing to share it, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. So let's get into it without further ado. Yeah, let's get it. What is self-sabotage? Simply, this is when people do or sometimes don't do anything, which in turn affects them, blocking their success or preventing them from accomplishing their goals. These things can be done consciously or unconsciously, and they can affect our personal and professional success as well as our relationships, obviously under personal health and mental health. So yeah, this is basically self-sabotage. Now let me give you a very easy example. Almost anyone can relate to this, I think. I don't know if everyone can relate to this. Have you ever gotten to a point where you just pack some things in a bag, maybe as a kid, pack some things in the bag and say, you know what, I'm leaving home, I'm tired of this thing, people are stressing me, I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm leaving, right? I'm not going to stay here, you guys don't want me here anyways, I'm going to leave. And then as a kid, you pack up a little bag of whatever things you can find and things you think you might need, and you make to leave your house, right? Now, in that moment, you don't know it yet, but you are kind of stupid. Okay. So, okay, wait. I'm not trying to. Okay, I'm not trying to be. Come on, let me calm down. I'm not trying to do that. But like, I've done this. Yeah, I don't know how old I was. I think I was like, how old was I? I just packed up. Like, I think I was 8, and I just packed up my bags. One bag, and I put some things in it, and I said, you know what, I am leaving the house. For whatever reason, I felt like I'm not going to be wanted here any longer, so I need to move. So I'm going to make that effort to move from the house. I left the house and I was going out. So I left, you know, and I packed up some things that I might need, maybe 2 shirts, some shorts. I got a fairly good selection. I mean, my inventory was quite good. I think I took, we had jam, so I took the jam. I took some things and I left the house, yeah? And I was thinking to myself, wow, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go live with this person. If things get hard, I can walk from here to like the other side of like where we're staying. Like I'll go to like maybe this they had this place. My best friend at the time was staying there. So I was going to just go. At least they're going to welcome me in their house and all that. If things go hard, I could go there and maybe pinch some food from time to time, and then I'll find my way in life. Something, blah blah blah. And it was very, very interesting plan until, just a few steps away. And I was like, my other sister was watching me. She was just watching me. She's probably listening to this. I don't know. She was watching me. Uh, she was watching me and she was just like, where are you going? I was like, I'm leaving. I can't stay here. You don't want me here. I'm gone. Don't call me. I'm not coming back. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that people don't do this and turn out to be something else. Depending on what kind of family you're living in, what kind of place you're coming from, there is always going to be those different experiences to what you actually know, And if your house growing up, your family growing up, they were toxic to you, then well, that's something else. But there will be those times of rebellion where you just want to walk away. Now the thing is this: if I had done that a couple of years ago, I don't know where I would be now. I might not be where I am now. I might be, who knows? I might be wherever. But all I know is I needed my family. I had people who loved me, I had people who were going to support me, and it was hard. But my sister, talking to me and everything, it kind of helped. She chased me around for a bit, but then I came back. So the whole thing I'm trying to say here is this crazy story is just trying to point back to self-sabotaging behavior, right? If I had done that at that time, I'll probably have put a huge chink in my, let's say, education. Probably wouldn't be going to school for some time. I'll probably have lost some time for some time. Obviously, this is still time. Right now, what I'm talking about is self-sabotaging, and I'm highlighting with this story how so many things would have changed from an intentional decision, right? So why do we do, or what makes us self-sabotage? It's quite simple. These acts of self-sabotage may stem from childhood issues, trauma, experiences, things that we've not healed from, basically still trauma, to other things like maybe things that we learn as we go on in life, from relationships, from friendships, from betrayals, from all these things like I mentioned earlier. Other things that might contribute to us self-sabotaging, it still comes from things that we learn and possibly learn wrongly, having low self-esteem, having developing coping mechanisms to deal with problems that we face, and with a kind of separation from reality. So we have this thing where we get into certain places or certain things that we see are familiar, and we try and remove ourselves from those places. So we try to shut ourselves off psychologically or mentally from whatever it is that we are seeing in our environment. So we remove ourselves. And the problem with this is sometimes you're removing yourself and you're also removing the fact that you have to act. You know, for example, your house is on fire. Instead of doing something about it, you stay in the corner and you start going all panicky. Oh my God, house is on fire. Wow, house is on fire. I'm not going to think about the fire. I'm just going to remove the fire from my mind. I'm going to think about a beach with whatever. And you remove yourself from the situation, and also without realizing it, also remove the fact that you need to act. So you've also kind of neutered yourself in that area. You can't act because you don't even know what to do. You've shut off, you've shut out, you've blocked your mind from what is actually happening. Sometimes you distract yourself with things like maybe alcohol, excessive partying, excessive whatever. These are all ways that we self-sabotage ourselves. So self-sabotage basically can be a coping mechanism that we use to deal with stressful situations and past traumas. Yeah. And unfortunately, like I've said, it makes it difficult, it makes problems worse, and it limits our ability to successfully move forward in a healthy way from things that have traumatized us. So these are some of the things that you see in self-sabotaging behavior. So now, when we think of sabotage, we think, okay, this person must be aware they are doing this thing. Sometimes they are not aware. That's why there is basically like a conscious and unconscious self-sabotage. So, for example, one example that was cited by Very Well Mind was, for example, someone might be overweight and on a diet, yeah, and they might consciously sabotage themselves by having a lot of ice cream. That's how they would consciously sabotage themselves, by doing that. But they can also unconsciously sabotage themselves by doing things that they don't know are detrimental to their progress. For example, you are trying to heal from a relationship, and then you say, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go have a lot of casual relationships. I'm going to have a lot of casual sex with people. I'm going to go do drugs. I'm going to go, I'm going to go try and hurt people to validate how I'm feeling. People do that actually. People say, okay, someone has hurt me. I'm going to go hurt 10 people so everybody can know how I feel. You think you're helping yourself, but you're not healing because you are unconsciously doing things that are not helpful. You think they're helpful. That's the problem. You think they're helpful. You don't think they're not helpful. You think, well, this is going to help me. If I do this to everybody, I'm going to feel better. But you don't feel better, or you don't feel relieved. You don't feel any better than you were. You just realize that after 5 years, you've not healed. You're still in the same place doing the same things. So yeah, it's also possible that you could have a difficult childhood and a lot of other experiences that can make it difficult for you to heal from these things. So let's get into, how do you know? How do you diagnose yourself? I'm obviously not saying that we shouldn't go to therapists or and counselors and stuff like this. I'm not saying that, but you can actually sometimes also know that you are messing up and you are self-sabotaging yourself. One way you know you're self-sabotaging is that you are focusing on the things that are not working or not right. And so what happens? What happens here when we do this? Basically, we say, you know what? Let's say, for example, you're trying to build yourself in a particular ambition or career path or relationship or personal progress or whatever it's still an ambition. Basically, it doesn't have to be all work related. It might just be an ambition to be fitter, an ambition to read more, an ambition to be more, health wise more sound. So you might spend a lot of time ruminating, thinking about the things that are not working. For example, instead of talking about how, okay, this thing isn't working, that's okay, but then I can do something about it. So when you focus all your thinking, like processing power, on the things that are not working in your life, in your relationships, in your work, in your this, in your that, when you focus all your time on the things that are not working, guess what you do? You remove yourself from the possibility of looking at the idea that things can actually be working well. You don't like your job because you spent the past, let's say you worked for 6 months. You've spent 6 months in that job thinking about everything that you've done wrong. Thinking about everything you've done wrong. You're not giving yourself a pat on the back. You've not celebrated yourself and said, look, I'm doing my best. You've not saying, okay, look, I might have messed up with that, but good thing is, after 2 weeks, I got better at that. I never messed up again. I never messed up again. I got better at this. I got better at this, and I'm still improving. That's a different idea. And it gets you to a different place of understanding when you can now see that, okay, what is actually going right? I mean, things are going bad, but what is going right? What is working? Celebrating the little wins is part of how we get ourselves out of this particular sabotaging behavior. Don't focus all your time on being mopey and being sad about all the things that are not working. This is not working. That is not working. I got to work late. I did this. I did that. You know what? There's tomorrow. There is tomorrow. And even in today, even in your messed up, even in your mistakes, there are things that you've done right. If you've done everything wrong, I don't think you'll still be alive. I think there's still something good in that story. So basically, I'm not saying just be blindly optimistic like you're Ted Lasso or something, but I'm saying have an idea of what it is that is working. I'm not where I want to be yet, but with where I am, at least I'm happy that I'm doing something right. And something right doesn't have to be a big thing. It might just be that you wake up at the right time every day. So what's not working? You're getting to work late. Check how you wake up. What do you do with your time? Okay, I wake up, I chat on social media for some hours, maybe 1 hour or so. What if you just take out 30 minutes from that time? How much earlier would you be able to get to work? Maybe I did this in my last relationship. I'm doing it again. The good thing is you've realized that you're doing something wrong. You've already realized, so that's the good thing. You realize that. So what's this next step? The next step is, I'm going to take a different approach. Okay, I know what I'm doing wrong now. That's already a good thing. I think the fact that you know what you're doing wrong is already a good thing. So I know what I can learn from. Change your mentality. So let's go to another number. I'll just look at it and say, okay. So another one is being stuck in fear. That's another kind of thing that you do when you are self-sabotaging. You are deeply rooted in fear. Now, this is actually big. So now, this in the Bible says, 2 Timothy 1:7 says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but has given us the spirit of power, love, and of a sound mind, sound judgment. And now this one, I actually had to look it up. I didn't really know where it was, but I had to go and look it up because I've heard this, I've read it before, and I'm like, okay, so what does it mean? This was actually spoke to me because I didn't realize it, but I got to a particular point in my life where, or doing some things where I didn't realize it, but I was holding on to certain fears. I've gotten it wrong before. I might get it wrong again. I think I'm going to get it wrong again. I hope I don't get it wrong again. Oh my God, I'm going to get it wrong again. You've got yourself into that place where unfortunately now you are stuck afraid. You are stuck afraid. And the problem with fear, unfortunately for a lot of us, is that we don't realize this. The problem with fear is it gets you to a point where you are not at your most effective. You are not at your most effective because you are making decisions that are not clear-headed. You don't have a sound mind. You don't have you're afraid, and because you're afraid, you can't act. Because you don't have a sound mind, you can't make clear judgment. You can't discern. You can't say, oh, this is good. This isn't good. This is going to work for me. This is not going to work for me. Because you are stuck being afraid that maybe I'm not even supposed to be here. Am I sure? Am I good enough? Then you bring in different aspects of things that could be wrong. Like you bring in, for example, negativity. You bring in, and from that fear, you feel like I should hold off on doing this thing. And so without realizing it, you get to a point of negativity, of procrastination, you become somewhat disorganized because you're supposed to move forward, but now you're afraid to go through the door. You've prayed to God for open doors for how long? The door is open. Walk through the door, damn it. And now you're standing there looking at the door. You can't walk through the door because, unfortunately for you, you are stuck, rooted in fear. The imposter syndrome comes up because you're thinking to yourself, I'm not supposed to be here. Am I sure? I don't think so. This and that. That's not the mind of someone who is working with a sound mind, who is not working with fear. Because that person who is working with a sound mind and not with fear is not thinking to themselves that, hey, I have a problem. I can't move forward. You are getting to a point where, without realizing it, you are overindulging. You are overindulging in you know in this whole cycle of fear, of things are not going to work and all of that. So why do we give our fear so much power over us? This is another thing that we need to look about. We need to look at and talk about, right? Because if we worry about the future so much, and we worry about what if, guess what happens? At a particular point in time, we paralyze ourselves and we can't take any action because of the fear of what might occur. So everyone is like, what if, what if not? Why would you do this? Why will I try? Why not? So I think one thing that helped was, in the moment, if you have something to discuss with someone, if this is a relationship, discuss with that person first. If you have a difficulty in your life, I think this is how it should be. I think I'm going to just try and remake this statement. If you have a problem, first and foremost, talk to God. Right? Talk to God. Okay, God, what am I supposed to do? Pray. That's my thing. I know some atheists listen to my podcast. Every kind of people, I know, but this is my podcast. Okay, this is what I believe. Pray. Trust me, pray. And I realized this thing, and I've said it a couple of times on the podcast. Prayer for me is the most stoic thing you can do. Why? Prayer helps you because it takes the attention, it takes the load, it takes the expectation away from you and then to God. Because you've taken off that importance of getting everything right by yourself and say, you know what, I believe so much in God, I'm going to let off the rest, the whole weight of everything. I'm still responsible for what I do, but I'm going to ask God first. So you've reminded yourself, I'm human. I can mess up. I can get it wrong. I can make mistakes. There's no problem. I will make mistakes. In fact, best bet on it, I'm going to make some new mistakes next week. New mistakes, brand new mistakes that are going to lead me to better places. Yeah? Not all mistakes are bad. Just understand that. Not all mistakes are bad. Not all mistakes are going to send you to hell. Not all mistakes are going to kill you. Basically, you need to get to a point where you said, you know what, if I trust God, what's the worst that can happen? That's like, if I go all in, God says, okay, you know what, guy, relax, calm down. While you're praying, in that space of not being in your own head and being afraid that you can fail your godness because you think, oh, well, I have to get everything right, I can't just be human. Well, praying now removes that and helps you remember that, hey, you're a human. You can be, your emotions can lie to you, your feelings can lie to you, all these things can lie to you. So what then is it that is speaking to you? What then is it that is actually guiding you to the point where you can actually make informed decisions? What then is that point you can get to where you can make informed decisions about the things you're supposed to do? And how can you get there? How can you get there if you don't ask the right questions? So allow yourself to be in the present. Allow yourself to be in the moment. Understand that you can't predict the future. You can't control the weather. You can't control other people's behaviors. You can't see into other people's thoughts. All you can control is you and where you are right now, right there, and what you can do with that. How do you want to interpret that? How do you want to behave in that moment? That's all you can handle. And even sometimes that's a lot. Sometimes that is a lot. So it's very important that while you are in this place, where in this place, allow for another different side to speak on this. Allow for a different side to speak on this. Allow for a different interpretation. Allow for God to speak to you, right? So if whether you want to say it's the universe, whether you call it supreme, sense, allow that ultimate guide to take charge and understand that is in charge of the future and time and space and everything. You don't control any of those things. All you can do is right now, and that's your reaction to the cosmos. So it's always going to be a different conversation, right? So another thing we do that is self-sabotaging is feeling like we have no value. Exactly. One of the best places, I think, if the devil was going to work on anybody, it's going to probably make them feel like either you have too much value or you have no value at all. So you get to a point where you forget everything that you've done, everything you're worth, everything that you can do, what you've accomplished. If you feel like you've not accomplished much, well, that's a different conversation. If you are obsessing about what you haven't done, like again, everything that is wrong, like we said before, if you're obsessing about everything that hasn't gone right, everything that has gone wrong, guess what you're going to do? You're going to end up in a position where, unfortunately, you are not moving forward because you are stuck in the past. You're stuck in the things that you haven't done. It doesn't matter where you go. I mean, where you've gone. What matters is where you're going. What matters is where you're going. It doesn't matter where you've been. What matters is where you are going to be. What do you want to do next? What are you going to say next? What are you going to effect next? So if you're stuck thinking, what is wrong with me? What do I lack? What don't I have? What am I not able to do? You are never going to grow. The focus now is you can choose to understand that you have good in you. You have something to offer. And then if you don't think what you have is enough, then fine, that's good as well. I have self-awareness. That's already something you have. I have enough self-awareness to know I don't have enough to offer yet. What do I need to do? I need to learn more. I need to skill up more. I need to work on myself more. I need to stop being entitled. I need to stop feeling like people owe me something. I need to stop, doing the things that are sabotaging me. I need to let go of the inner voices that are telling me lies. The truth about you is more than the things that you don't know or you don't do or you don't have. There's a lot more to you than the things that you don't have or you haven't done. Now, there was a time, I think, so for people that could see, I don't know, on my social media and on these things, if I had something, that I was working with, if I had something that I was working with at the time, and I would post things and say, you know what, I am the stone that the builder refused, right? I'm telling myself these things. These are self-affirmations. I meant this is already podcast already. If you've not listened to this, then you can probably go back and listen to it. One of the episodes is called self-affirmations, right? And all of these things you are acknowledging to yourself at least a number of things, maybe a few things, maybe 10 things, maybe 5 things, maybe 2 things, maybe 1 thing every day, and complimenting yourself on those things that, you know what, I might not be where I want to be, but I haven't stopped moving. I haven't stopped moving. And that is worth celebrating in of itself, right? Notice your small wins, your small successes, and if other people give you compliments, yeah? If other people give you compliments, if you compliment yourself, for every little win you have, take that win, take that spark, take that warmth, and let it channel to other areas of your life, to your other areas of things that you want to do. You know what? I'm a great this. I'm a great that. I'm great at math. I'm not talking about myself. I'm great at math. Math is my best thing ever. Again, I'm not talking about myself, but I'm also not bad. So thank God. So I'm great at math. I love this about myself. Very good at this. You know what? I'm going to take the fact that I'm great at math and I'm going to apply myself to physics. I'm going to take the fact that I'm great at math and I'm going to apply myself to for example now, I'm going to apply myself to say if I'm great at math, I can learn chess. Yeah? I'm great at speaking to people. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to speak to more people. In fact, I'm going to start scripting what I speak to people. Maybe I can change the way I process that so that it changes from just being a thing that I say to a thing that I can document. The Physics Speaks did not start from a podcast. It started from like just conversations with people. It started from posts on my status. People said, "Oh, you know what? I like this. Can I get this somewhere? Can you make this somewhere where I can go back to it and find it? Oh, why not just make a podcast? Why not just make a blog? Why not just put things in places where other people, apart from people who know me directly, can actually get to see these things?" So it starts from acknowledging the things that you actually have and then building on from there. Another thing is understanding that there is no reason to waste time comparing yourself, especially constantly, to other people. Don't do it. Don't do that. If you want to be where someone is, don't compare yourself. I'm not there. Learn from them, but don't sell yourself short because you are admiring where someone else is. Learn from them. What are the qualities in them that you want for yourself? Pick those qualities and learn from them. Pick those qualities and imbibe them. Pick those qualities and adapt them. But you should also be able to see your own qualities and say, these are my quirks, these are my qualities. My Hero Academia people, salute. These are my quirks, right? These are my abilities, right? This is my way. These are things I can do. These are my own adaptabilities. These are things I have. These are my character traits and all those things, attributes, right? Skill points, whatever. Yeah. So, what are things that you value the most in your own life? And then you might see that you are similar with the other person or different. And then if you see things that you like about this person or you want to adapt to yourself, you can do that. But then don't waste time trying to be someone else. Appreciate yourself and appreciate your difference to other people. That's another one. So another one is sometimes we set goals, we meet them, and then we lose them. Sometimes we want things, we say we want this, we want that, and then we get those things, and then we just absolutely mess it up. We just throw it away. We just say we don't want this thing, because we may get to a point where we don't even believe that we are good enough to have the things that we actually have. We get to a point where we say we are not good enough to have the things that we actually have. And I think therein lies the problem. You have to look at the things, because sometimes you get things, you want that job, you've gotten it, and now you feel like, you've got it and you feel like, you know what, I don't think I deserve this. I don't think I'm at the place where I deserve this. I don't think I'm at the place where this is good for me, or I should have this, or I should have that. And that's unfortunately bad, because you are stealing joy away from yourself. So how about this? How about you change that, and you look at the things that you've accomplished that faded away, and look at how you felt when you had those things. Are they worth fighting for? Are they worth keeping? It might be a different experience to you. It might be a different experience to you where you feel peace, now you feel joy, now you feel happy, now you feel thankful. Identify the limiting beliefs that you have, and why you feel like you can't have what you want. Look at your reasons. Identify the things that are making you cut yourself down, and you see how small beliefs can build up to you not feeling worth what you're asking for, right? So now build yourself with a new bridge belief, right? as it says, a small belief that feels a little bit better than what you feel now. And each week as you go on, give yourself a new belief. You carry a new belief, carry a new word, carry a new statement that now fuels you into the next week, right? You can use these different belief bridges to be like stepping stones that will help you shift your limiting beliefs slowly, and then before you know it, you see yourself actually at that point where you actually see that you actually are worthy, and you actually deserve the good things that you actually think that you no longer are worth having. Another point is that you chase away relationships. If you are, this one is actually quite close to a lot of people. If you okay, now this is, I'm just going to put this as I'm seeing this, right? As I'm getting this. So, do you always feel like something is missing in your relationships, or you find fault with the other person? Perhaps you are afraid of intimacy. Maybe you have an an avoidant attachment style. So underneath this is usually a fear of abandonment or exposure that causes you to distance yourself from others, right? And now there's an action you can take. There's a way you can go about this. Why not create a list of qualities you value in a relationship and the qualities you want to attract in your partners? Now, cultivate connections you have with people, express what you want and don't want to the other person, and allow them to express the same to you. Now, create time to acknowledge the other person on a regular basis. Notice when you feel afraid and let the feelings be. Accept them and accept them, right? And then allow them to sit there. Don't try to push them away. Know that the feelings are there and that it's fine that they're there, right? Focus on what feels good about that relationship. If you focus only on what is bad, already you're going to kill every relationship that comes your way, because you're already thinking about all the ways the relationship is not going to work. This person is not this, person is not that. However, I'm still going to say something, which is that be honest with yourself. There are some things that are, you're making excuses about, like, oh, this, that. It's not really a core thing to you. But if something is a core thing to you and you see that it's not quite there, be honest with yourself and just be like, nah, I can't do this. This particular thing is not going to work for me, right? I want this thing, I don't have it. I can't work here. This can't work for me. I can compromise a bit, but too much is going to be a bit difficult for me. So you have to be honest with yourself, because you do not want to build resentment against someone who is your partner going forward, right? So another one is having no purpose. Now, I think this one is really important, because when you don't have a proper why, when you don't have a proper definition of why you're here, or what you're about to do, or what you're out to do, or why it matters that you do what you do, then it's very easy for you to do things that will inadvertently stand in your way or sabotage where it is that you're supposed to get to. Another thing is, if you feel like you don't have any reason for being, or so, you are more likely to be open to depressive thoughts, wrong negative thinking, and so on and so forth. The issues keep going on and on. So it's very important to write down all things that are important to you, include possessions, people, and feelings, all these things that matter to you over time, and write out what you want to contribute to the world. From your writing, create a statement of purpose for yourself that you can read each and every day. Another thing is also to add spirituality to your life. Make sure you pray. Make sure you also meditate on things that are not just you. So that helps you to obviously make more sense of things as well as you go on. You learn and you are guided by something bigger than yourself. It really does help. Another thing that I feel like does always help and keeps helping or keeps blessing you is giving. So give value to other people. Give value to other people. Give to the world around you. Give to your world. Give to your family. Give to your friends. Create value as much as you can. When you can do this, guess what happens? From giving, this particular TED Talk I watched some years back, I really helped put some things in perspective for me. And basically what he was saying, it was not Geller, I'm trying to remember his name, but he said that how you can know your purpose in like 5 steps is basically to look at what you do, why you do. Just look at to know why you do what you do. Basically, look at what you do, look at who you do it for, look at how it makes you feel. Look at what impact it has in the world. What value do you bring to your world? What value does it bring to your world, to the world? And then you look at also what becomes of you, or of the world as well, of your world, whatever you affect as a result of what you do. You put all those five things together, you have a greater sense of, okay, this is my purpose, this is what I'm out to do. So basically, as you are giving value, as you're giving something, you're also receiving clarity. So give, and you keep unlocking new ways to find that purpose for yourself. So keep giving, keep doing your best, and unleash your why. I think that's about it. Yeah, yeah. We've gone over different ways we sabotage ourselves, relationships with destructive behaviors that, when reversed, can actually help us yield better progress, better success, and not hold ourselves back. It's not always your village people who are coming after you. Sometimes we're just the ones getting in our own way and messing ourselves up. So this is to that person who is trying to find their way, who feels like they've been tripping over themselves, and this is just to say, you can get there, you can do it, and I'm rooting for you. This has been it for this week's episode. I am Salim Mohammed Tarifa. Catch you in the next one. Remember to share, subscribe to the podcast, share, leave an awesome comment when you can, and God bless you. Have a blessed one. Peace.